What's going on, everybody? What's happening? Welcome back to the bullshit. How's everybody doing out there, huh? Hopefully well. Hopefully everyone's hanging in there. Things are kind of looking up. As you can see, I'm in my humble dwelling here. You had to do her again. Had to do her again. The old job hopper I am, right? It's kind of a truck driving thing, really. But for me, it's been quite a bit. Since 2022. Come on. Prior to that, just for the record, prior to that, my jobs were usually 3, 4, or 5 years I would hold a job. Lately, it's been 3 or 4 or 5 months that I hold a job. And I've had a bunch since 2022 because some of it me. A couple jobs I probably shouldn't have quit. Most of it just between the market and the freight overcapacity. And the fact that a lot of trucking companies are just some scamming bastards, right? So you never know, big company, little company, what do I do? Where do I go? You don't know until you go there, try it. And usually you get screwed, right? Usually you get screwed. So you're already at that point. There you go. You got screwed. Now you got to hop again, right? Well, here we are. I do have to say on that, I just interviewed Thursday. Today is Tuesday. I'm rolling out in the morning. Should have been out yesterday, but the truck they were giving me, they can't get fixed, so I guess I'm going to a different truck. But when I interviewed with the gentleman that owns this company that I'm going to work for, and it's a pretty reputable company, I was actually very happy to see that they were hiring again. The only one I've ever seen that has 100% positive reviews. Like, I've never seen that before. It's crazy. So I was happy to, see that they were hiring and get in there. I think things are going to be good there. But one thing that he told me when I came in there, because I interviewed with the owner of the company, because he's still active in the company, and he likes to interview his own people. I was telling him, like, I know it looks pretty sketchy. I've had some jobs since 2022 and this and that and everything. But I'm just trying to find a place, to stay and, get rid of all this bullshit going on, all this bouncing. I'm sick of bouncing too, it costs me money. It's a hassle. I want to get locked into a job somewhere, right? That whole schmeal. And he looked at me and he said, you know what? I don't really see it as job hopping. He's like, at this point, if you would have stayed at some of those companies that you were at, he's like, I know what companies they are. I've been in business here for 45 years or whatever, right? He's like, if you would have stayed at those companies, I would have thought less of you, because you're bettering yourself. There comes a point where you have to just move on to better yourself, right? Right? The trucking companies do it too, right? They don't haul shit for cheap and they renegotiate their rates and so on and so on. Right? We all got to make money. So I thought about that and I was like, yeah, I appreciate him saying that, because a lot of people have been busting my balls about the job hopping, but man, a lot of people are job hopping. Even people who would have held jobs that I would have in the past been like, why the hell are you working there? They're even job hopping, because they're not making any money or whatnot. So that's what we're doing. But, things, in my opinion, I'm no analyst, but, the people who say that they're analysts, freight waves, right, are actually just young people with logistics degrees that kind of talk a bunch of nonsense. It's kind of like the government, we're going into a recession. Oh, we're not going into a recession. We're going into a recession. Talking heads, right? Like me. And I'm not an analyst or nothing like that. I just drive a truck. But I got a perspective of the whole deal, right? In some ways, I'm not sitting in a cubicle somewhere trying to analyze what in the fuck's going on with this whole deal by numbers and all that. I'm actually like boots on the ground seeing it, you feel me? And I see some definite progress. Is it going to be boom time again real soon? I don't think so. No, I think that's going to be a minute, and maybe it, trucking's a volatile market anyway. It's boom and bust. It's always in and out. It's how it's always been, man. It's just how it's always been. Now this one's kind of a big one, kind of like the 2008 one. The perfect storm with COVID and all that. And then too many people coming in to suck up that money and all that made it over capacity. And some foreigners. We got too many foreigners over here. Anyway, I see some positive stuff, like more than I've seen in the last year and a half at least. As you know, I've worked for some crappy companies, knowing that they were crappy companies, but I needed to pay my bills. I couldn't go bankrupt. Now, can we do that? No. So even if I was out on the road and I'm going, man, I'm getting screwed on this whole deal, I should be getting paid for what I'm doing. I should be getting paid more, right? And all that. Yeah, I've done that. You know, I've been out trucking, living on the road for, what was that, 9 months or something like that. I wasn't really making that good of money, but I was making enough money to not go bankrupt and not be homeless. Basically to maintain, correct? So I maintained and things are picking up. Am I going to make bank now? Not really, but decent amount of money. But what I'm seeing, right, is companies are hiring again. During the holidays and shit, there was nobody hiring, man. Like some 1099 places and some dog shit places. But it was pretty dismal. And I went start looking last week. And I was like, damn, they're hiring. Now, we did have a couple large companies go bankrupt in the last couple weeks over there. All in all, that's going to help because the two companies that went bankrupt, you wouldn't want to work for them anyway. You know what I mean? Unless you were just like new trying to get your time in or something, you wouldn't want to work for them. They were shit. So their freight will go to the better companies. Right? So then the drivers at the better companies will have the freight. Now, you might be asking yourself, what happened with the milk gig? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, but then I'm going to tell you a little bit about milk because I want people to understand that because people watch my past videos like, and they're like, damn, you're making money, and they even went over and started hauling milk and stuff like that, right? As far as the last place went, I kind of knew before I took that job, right, that they ain't that great. The mileage pay was so low that I'm not even going to tell you what it was because normally I always tell you guys what I'm making a mile. Like this new job, I'll be honest, I'm only making 58 cents a mile, right? Right now, that's actually not that bad. Have I made 63, 65, even 70? When I was working at Sunset, I was making 70 cents a mile. Now, the 70 cents a mile very well could be why Sunset went bankrupt, right? You know, they're paying too much. But 63 cents a mile, in my opinion, right now is pretty decent. 65, something like that. But we're doing like 55, 58 cents a mile is what's going on. It is what it is. You know, the rates are the rates and the companies control the mileage pay and you take it or you leave it. You know what I mean? That's all there is to it. So, yeah, I'm not doing huge mileage pay on this place. But on the last place, I'm not even going to tell you. Like I said, it was horrible. But if you remember correctly, it was supposed to be mileage plus stop pay plus $25 an hour. Plus, I was supposed to be home like a few days a week. And I was supposed to run from the yard that's a half hour north of here to the plants, deliver, go back to the yard, drop and hook a trailer, go to the plants, deliver, and like come home all the time. So I was like, yeah, the money kind of sucks and all that. But at least I can be home more often. You get it? And I was like, it'll be all right. Well, I stopped coming home. They just started keeping me on the road for like 6 days at a time. And then overall, the law books, agricultural exempt's one thing. But when you're overusing agricultural exempt, let's say you're sitting at a plant getting unloaded for 12 hours. You're not parked. You know what I mean? It's kind of like being at the Blue Beacon. You're sitting in line when someone pulls forward, you got to pull forward. You're not in the bunk sleeping. Well, when you would do that, they would pretty much count that as your 10-hour break. They'd give you a few hours after that to sleep. But that went on your log is your 10-hour break, right? Over and over. And then the ag exempt circle, you know, it gives you all those free hours to run off a log. So you, let's say you run 2.5 hours somewhere, you sit there 2 hours, get unloaded, 2.5 hours back. Well, you're 7 hours into your day right now. Well, now you got a clean book. So they're going to give you another load. Now you're going to need to be 550 miles, whatnot, out in another direction to deliver at 8 a.m. in the morning. You feel me? You doing the math on this? So now you take that 8-hour run you got to do, add it to the 7. And you got a really long fucking day, man. You know what I mean? By the time you sit down around out there and everything. So you're looking at basically 16, 18-hour days or more. And we were leaving a lot at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It seemed like all the time. Everything was leaving at midnight or 1 in the morning. And it's just a stupid time to start. I mean, ultimately, I was still hanging out there because I was looking for jobs before I quit. But I had to load out. And I went up there to the yard to get my truck to load out early in the morning. And my truck wasn't there. No one had answered their phone to tell me where the truck was at. I'm assuming it was up north at their other depot, but I'm not going to drive like 35, 40 minutes north to see if it's there. It could be at the Peterbilt dealer. I have no freaking idea where it's at. And no one wants to answer their phone. I was already sick of it, so I just came home, right? And then they started texting me. Didn't even have enough balls to call me. Started texting me like crappy texts. Saying, we're not going to hunt you down, blah, 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 this crap, where you at? You know, that type of shit. Which I get, but hey, is it really my fault? You dispatched me on a load. My truck ultimately was in their other shop up north. They screwed up. You know what I mean? It was their fault. So I just said, piss on you guys, man. I was leaving anyway, you know? So that's pretty much the gist of what happened with that whole deal. So I ended up just leaving at that point and then found a job right away, really, which is, believe it or not, I actually had it down, you know, I could say I had it down to like 10 different jobs, but some of them right away, as soon as you start reading the reviews and stuff, you're like, oh no, that ain't gonna happen. But I had it down to like 3 good jobs, decent jobs, right? And I actually had to pick between. So that's a good sign, because for me, lately, and I do have a lot more experience than most people, just saying, so it's a little bit easier. I've been lucky to be like, just find one dude that wants to run me. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll take that job. You know, as you guys know, I don't feel good about 1099, and I don't recommend doing 1099. But for a while there, I was actually working for a 1099 company because I had to, because I didn't have anywhere else to go. There was nothing going on. I didn't want to fly out somewhere and get a truck and all that crap. Now I'm not working for a 1099 company now. This new company, like I said, the reviews are good. The trucks, it's a Volvo. That's a little different. I haven't had a Volvo in a really long time, like 10 years or something, maybe. I don't know. It's been a minute, but they're nice trucks. They're newer. You know, they're polished up. They're clean. They're well maintained. They're the bigger sleeper Volvos, so on and so on, right? So the equipment's good. Like I already told you, the mileage pay, the mileage is good because what I'm being told, right? That's the key word, is what I'm being told. But this place had a lot of reviews online, and also I was able to talk to some drivers while I was milling around there. Is I'm going to be running pretty much long. Now I could come home every week if I wanted to, but right now I'm going to stay out for 2 weeks because I need to make some money, you know? Need to make some money, my friends. You know the feeling. And when you stay out for 2 weeks, it does help your checks a lot. But they got day cabs, so most of the time the day cabs are going to have the load sitting in the yard. I'm going to hook it. I'm going to take it long, you know? And then whatever my backhaul is, I'm going to drop in the yard, hook another load, and the day cabs are going to deliver it. So that's going to speed up the mileage, right, of not sitting around loading docks and all that. So I like that whole deal. And I'm going to be running the West. I know a lot of you don't like running the West. This time of year, the West is beautiful, you know. Wintertime, yeah, yeah, I get it. But I'm all right with that. Like my run tomorrow, tomorrow's Wednesday. I got to be in Utah Saturday morning, just south of Salt Lake. I'm guessing it's about a 25-hour drive, something like that. I haven't looked at it yet. But that's really no problem. That gives me plenty of time. It'll be decent mileage. One of the weird things is they give you a $2,500 sign-on bonus, and it's paid out in like 4 increments. The first increment of like $680 or whatever it is, you actually get on your first paycheck. That's weird, right? Normally they make you wait forever. And then the next one you get in 3 months, and 3 months after that, and 3 months after that, right? Until you reach your year. Then you get the full thing. I was kind of surprised they give it to you on your first paycheck. So it's like, man, they're kind of on the up and up. You know, as with any company, there's a little bit of confusion. I was in there Thursday, drug tested, interviewed. They told me I would come back Monday and head out. And here I'm heading out Wednesday because My truck wasn't ready on Monday, so they said it was going to be ready today, but then today it's not going to be fixed, so they're just moving me into a whole nother truck. Hopefully for good. That's what I said to her. I was like, am I just staying in another truck? Like, because I don't like switching trucks, you know? And I get it. I mean, if it's broken, you can't get the parts or whatnot. It's just how it is. Ain't really nothing on them. You know that stuff with the melt, before I forget about that, it's pretty much the same at all the companies, right? I mean, MDT's even the same as that. Now, at MDT, was I doing better? Yes, I was, because I'd worked there for like 4 years or whatever at that point when I switched to melt. So basically, I got the better runs, right? So I was just doing like, say I would leave and go to Atlanta, drop my trailer, go to sleep in Atlanta, hook it empty in the morning, come back up here. That's 850 miles down, sleep 850 miles back, sleep 850 down, because you can do it on Ag Exempt. So I was pounding out the miles, and that's why I was making that money like I was making in that Melt Money video. Well, you know, if you didn't have those runs there, you can do like farm to plant and basically just a lot of running around. I mean, they have an Arizona one that's long. They got a Mississippi, I believe, that's long. They got some long ones. But that doesn't mean that everybody's on those. So whether you're working for the last place I was working for, or MDT, or I'm not going to name them all off, but there's a few melt places around here, they're all pretty much the same like that. It depends. If you get one of the good runs, you get one of the good runs. Like, that was one of the things, you know, when I came back my last week out there that pissed me off, is they wasted my time loading this load that was only an hour away from the yard, and it was a huge waste of time for me. I could have just went home and made more, you know, made the same money driving back empty, right? And then when I got the load, I was already pissed that they had me sit there and load it. I looked at the destination was Arizona. And I'm like, man, you motherfuckers like go out there and shit, and you got me running to like Ohio and Wisconsin and stuff. Like, so you get what I'm saying? If you end up on that short shit, like, you can do alright running the Carolinas, maybe even Kentucky, right? Because if you take off and you get down there, you get unloaded, then you can drive halfway back. So you'll get like 750 miles that day, and that's all good and dandy. But a lot of times what happens is you come back up here and there's no load for you to go out with right away the next day. So now you're going to sit around and wait on a load. So at the end of the day gone week, it don't add up. Now, was I getting 3,000 miles a week there? I was. But my mileage pay was so low, the checks were crap. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of the milk a little bit. I don't really recommend it, to be honest. I mean, if you're one of them people that wants to get out there and get right after it and do like 800 miles a day and stuff like that, and you want to make money, yeah, find a milk place, man. Get your time in there a little bit and get on one of those runs, and you can get out there and make money. But I will tell you this from experience, doing that day in and day out is very exhausting. You know, running 850 miles a day every once in a while, or even once a week or something like that, that'd be one thing. But day in and day out, and all this sitting around at the plants, and there's a lot of goofiness to it. The log books, they just won't fly by the DOT. MDT's logbooks, the way they logged it, we logged it there, they would. That was 100% legal. But the way we were logging at this last place, I was looking at my logbook and I'm like, nah, that's going to get me busted. And that's going to go on my PSP. And every time I get busted, that lowers the amount of jobs I'm able to get. Because if I find a good company, they might not want me because I got all this crap on my record now. So then I got to go to another crappy company, and then I get another violation, and it just keeps knocking me down until next thing you know, I'm working at, you know, some dipshit place because it's the only place I can get. So I got to keep my record clean. And that was a kind of a huge decision on that as well. But I'm looking forward to going back to freight. I'm not going to say I'm never going back to melt, right? Never say never. Most of you who have followed me all these years, you probably knew when I went back to milk right away, you're like, he won't do that long. You know what I mean? Like, you knew I was just going to make some. I just needed a job like that week. I was off for 5 weeks at one point. I think that's when I took that job. I was off for 5 weeks. Think about that. At Trucker Pay, 5 weeks. Plus I was spending money because I bought this place and everything like that. So I needed to go to work. Like, I didn't have time to fly somewhere and do a 2-day orientation and, you know, take 2 weeks to get to work and all that, because it can happen. It can easily happen. I needed to go to work like pronto, man. Drug testing in the truck. So I just took it. And for a minute, I thought it was going to be all right. But a very small minute. And I was like, ooh, this kind of sucks. So yeah, I mean, the milk tanker itself, the whole sloshing and banging and shit, that's kind of frustrating and annoying in itself. But freight's just easier for me. I was trying to avoid being on the road so much, but now that I've been home, I kind of want to be on the road a little bit. So I'm looking pretty forward to it, you know. I haven't even seen the truck I'm getting yet. Hopefully it's good. I believe all their trucks are good, you know, but find out all that tomorrow. You know what I mean? You feel me? You feel me? Other than that, I don't really know what to say. I mean, it's been pretty sad, right? I mean, damn. You know, I used to be kind of wealthy, right? I was, for real. I mean, I grew up welfare poor and all that, and even when I first got married, we were poor as hell. Then we got pretty wealthy, really, in a lot of people's standards. And then after I got divorced, you know, I was making trucker money. I was a single dude, able to bank back some money and all that nonsense. And then I was making that milk money and shit. I was making like 90 grand a year or better. So I was feeling fucking rich, man. I was feeling fucking rich. So I was doing, that's why I bought that dumb Harley and all that. Whew, boy, it's the shit stayed going at this rate right here. Bankrupt, man. Bankrupt. And I'm just being honest in case there's someone else out there struggling with it. I mean, I'm going to be able to avoid it at this point, but I can't take too many more hits. You know, it has to pan out or I'm going to end up ass over for sure. I know a lot of people probably already went ass over and I feel bad for you, but just saying, just sharing that for whoever needs to hear it, you know. There's a lot of good in the numbers, you know. If you look at the volumes and everything compared to like 2019, 2018, and those kinds of numbers on Mudflap or FreightWaves, Sonar and shit like that, the numbers are actually spot on. Like, the volumes are actually higher than what they were in 2018, 2019, and all that nonsense. But there's just so much capacity. So many people flooded the market, you know, during COVID. But look at how fast these companies are going bankrupt, man. It's got to be pretty much mellowing out, right? And it's not like you're just going to see it overnight, you know? It's like one of those deals. It's going to take a minute for it to all equalize. But there's definite progress there, you know? I don't know how long it'll take. If you wanted to ask my trucker opinion, a year. I think that we're going to be all right for the next year. I think we're just going to work jobs. Like, I know a couple people that went to a company that I worked for previously, and overall it's a good company. You know, they treat you pretty well and all that. Equipment's good. Right now it kind of sucks just because they're doing like a lot of stops and stuff. They didn't used to do that, but they're trying to survive, right? And the drivers that went there, I recommended the company, and then they went there and it ain't even like it was when I was there, so I felt a little bit bad about it. But, like, I'm just using this for example. If they just hang in there, in due time, that's going to switch around, and it'll all be good to go again, you know? You know, the place that, as a trucker, we always want to be is when they... You know, there's no such thing as a driver shortage. We talked about that whole thing. There's just a shortage of pay. Like I said, you know, I have friends who have CDLs. My ex-girlfriend had a CDL, so on and so on. They just don't, you know, when my friends can make $65,000 working at the factory and getting home every night and all that, why do they want to go work for $75,000, you know, and do all the over-the-road crap? The trucking's not paying enough for the people to use their CDLs. There's never been a shortage. There's plenty of qualified drivers out there. As a matter of fact, conspiracy-wise, I believe the trucking companies and the government and the OOID and all that crap, I think they're all in cahoots, man, to bring in the foreigners and run all the wages down. It happens. You know, it's a fact. It's not just my crazy trailer park conspiracy theory. They do that shit. They did it with my parents when my parents were working automotive and like Frigidaire and stuff. When I was a kid, my parents were pretty wealthy, and then they started just no more unions and scab laboring and foreigners and all that, and they ran all them jobs pretty much right out of here. I live in Lansing. you can drive around and see all the empty GM buildings and Ford and all that shit. They're not even here anymore. It's going to turn, you know, like I've said before, the insurance is going to be a lot because, you know, after so many accidents and all the crap and all that, the trucking companies ain't going to be able to insure the drivers. So it's all going to come down to like legalities of it, I think, really, which is another reason to keep your shit clean, you know, so you'll have value. But I mean, we all want that so-called driver shortage prime area where we rarely ever end up, but we get there sometimes where they're just chomping at the bit to hire us, you know, and they're wanting to give us new trucks and pay us whatever we want and all that. That's the best time, ain't it? Yeah, but we might not see that for a minute, and that's kind of normal. I mean, I started in 2001. It was competitive. There was a lot of baby boomers still in trucking. It was very competitive. You could get fired, shit like that. Then there was times in between where they were short truck drivers and they wanted to pay me out the ass, and I negotiated. And you know, you've probably seen in some of my videos that I negotiated because I knew that they were short. I can see, I follow, even when I'm not looking for a job, I follow Indeed and Glassdoor and all that just to see who's hiring, what they're paying, what's going on. It gives me a gauge. Like, even if let's say I go to this company and I'm completely happy at this company and I don't want to leave. Now I start seeing these ads go up to 63, 65 cents a mile, or, you know, or better or whatnot, right? Then I go to my boss and I say, hey, listen, man, look, these other people are paying this. And then maybe I'll get 59, 60 cents a mile or something, right? I'm not expecting these to jump me right up to 65 cents a mile, because he's probably not an idiot, but got some sunburn, man. I've been riding my motorcycle and I'm kind of burned up, but you get what I'm saying. It keeps you competitive. So yeah, I know this ain't nothing too exciting, but I just wanted to reach out on that whole deal. As I said, hang in there. Keep your head up. Put your gloves on. This too shall pass, my friends. This too shall pass. As always, appreciate you watching. Smash the buttons. Tell your friends.